Meri Brown, a reality TV celebrity who formerly served as Sister Wives' emotional pillar, is now a woman forging her own narrative. Following years of discord in her multiple marriage to Kody Brown, she is now forging a new route, away from Kody past and family strife, in the direction of a tranquil existence in Utah. Her path exemplifies self-reliance, self-discovery, and recovery. What is Meri Brown doing now, and where is she? Meri was Kody Brown's first wife for over 30 years. In 1990, she married multiple people and contributed to the development of the unusual family that Sister Wives viewers saw. Cracks started to show over time. Their partnership devolved into a chilly cohabitation due to jealousy, emotional distance, and shifting allegiances. Meri and Kody's divorce in early 2023 confirmed what many had suspected for years, that their relationship had subtly deteriorated. The split signified a symbolic change in addition to being a personal one. Meri had had enough of being referred to as the first wife. She subsequently acknowledged that she had been fighting for a loan to save a marriage for years. Meri has since spoken with renewed conviction. She's done being polite. The calm wife who maintained harmony has evolved into a woman who respects integrity, self-assurance, and dignity. Coyote Pass, the enormous piece of land near Flagstaff, Arizona, that the Browns purchased to construct their forever homes, was the plotline that most encapsulated the family's disintegration. It was intended to represent solidarity. Rather, it caused a great deal of division. The property closed a disappointing chapter in 2025 when it sold for about $1.5 million. Meri saw the selling as emotional closure more than just a commercial transaction. Because she and Kody only had one kid together, she had long been left out of important decisions and frequently treated like an outsider. According to her, there was never an equal playing field. Relationships deteriorated much further as the land was transferred. According to Meri, the sister wives no longer communicate on a regular basis. No trust remains, she acknowledged. Years of escalating estrangement and animosity among the once close-knit family were summed up in that revelation. Meri now resides in Utah and has established a serene yet strong life in Parowan. She is the owner of the 150-year-old Lizzie's Heritage Inn, a historically significant property that was formerly run by her late mother. Meri explained that although fans envisioned her managing it full-time, that was never her dream. Now that the inn is closed for repairs, her life and business are taking a different turn. Meri acknowledged in a February 2025 episode that she doesn't want to keep doing the B&B in the same manner. Rather, she is investigating ways to turn it into a community area or retreat facility that fits with her vision. Her inner development is reflected in this reinvention. The woman who carried out someone else's plan is no longer with us. She is replaced by a self-assured businesswoman who is driving her own narrative. Away from the craziness of Arizona and closer to tranquility, Utah has turned into her haven. She frequently takes trips, goes to empowerment gatherings, and posts inspirational thoughts on the internet. Meri is now flourishing away from the sister wives spotlight, as evidenced by her affirmation-filled messages. Meri has carefully returned to dating since her divorce. In a memorable Sister Wives episode, Kate was encouraged by her best friend Jen Sullivan to attend a speed dating event in Salt Lake City. When a man made a joke about her multiple marriages, it instantly went viral. He remarked, "Married twice, only one at a time." Meri answered without hesitation, "I dislike stupid jokes. Even though I'm incredibly humorous, a stupid joke must be funny." Her witty banter and self-assurance garnered media attention, demonstrating her strength and confidence. She later assured viewers that she is open to falling in love again, but is not in a rush. She declared, "I'm dating, but on my terms." Her current desires are connection, respect, and true happiness, rather than survival. She is one of the most likable women on reality TV because of her candor. Those who once viewed her as stifled now see a person who exudes strength, humor, and independence. Meri's relationships with Robyn, Janelle, and Christine, her previous sister wives, are still complex. Robyn is still with Kody, but Christine and Janelle have gone on to have independent lives. Meri seemed to have separated herself from all three of them. In recent Sister Wives episodes, Kody is seen trying to make peace by visiting his ex-wives in what fans refer to as an apology tour. However, Meri has run out of patience. She firmly drew her line and declared, "I've given enough chances." She no longer feels compelled to mend relationships that upset her tranquility. From a woman who was formerly characterized by loyalty to one who is now governed by self-respect and healthy limits, This shift represents a significant transformation for those who have been watching for a long time. Meri Brown is emotionally and physically strong as of late 2025. She has adopted a calmer, more deliberate existence in Utah. She is focusing on her personal development endeavors, her Worthy Up brand, and the new course of her in. She keeps encouraging her fans along the way with her remarks about independence and self-worth. Her metamorphosis is an example of bravery and rebirth. She now lives for herself after decades of living for others. Meri Brown is open, self-aware, and not scared to go alone if it means strolling in peace. She is no longer the shy wife looking for acceptance. Today, Meri Brown's life is a picture of rebirth. Divorced, estranged, and resolute, she is by no means vanquished. More than just a change of scenery, her journey from Arizona's shattered promises to Utah's boundless sky signals the beginning of an entirely new era. She is now much more than just Kody Brown's first wife. She is her own person, sharing her experience in her own words, and a living example that it's never too late to find happiness again. Viewers witnessed Meri Brown's struggles in the complex world of sister wives for almost 10 years. Season by season, the lady who had formerly adhered to the notion of plural marriage gradually changed into someone discreetly escaping a life that no longer fulfilled her. While fans pleaded for her to leave, she suffered years of feeling like the neglected wife, emotional estrangement, and public humiliation. Now that she has finally severed her relationship with Kody Brown and the broken family dynamic that had been draining her for years, Meri has embarked on a daring new life in Utah, one based on self-reliance, purpose, clarity, and unreserved strength. There is more to this fresh chapter than a simple reset. It's an arc of redemption, and it demonstrates how Meri, who was before marginalized and underappreciated, is now confidently assuming her position of authority, leaving Arizona behind. And all that's left. Meri held on to the idea for years that she would lose her identity if she broke away from the multiple family. She maintained her optimism for much longer than everyone had anticipated. Long after Kody emotionally distanced himself, long after their marriage ended in all but legally, and long after the sister wives' relationships had irreparably broken down. However, Meri finally came to the crucial realization that remaining did not equate to loyalty. It was selflessness. She started destroying the life she had created in Arizona as soon as she came to terms with that reality. She silently and slowly became ready to go with the emotional burden she bore as well as the actual home. She packed her past, sold the illusions, and left with her dignity intact. There was more to that migration to Utah than just geography. It had symbolic meaning. She was moving toward a future that she was at last prepared to take ownership of, not fleeing the past. What Arizona could never provide, Utah does. A slate that is clean for Meri, Utah was always more than just a place. It was associated with family history, ancestry, and the inn where her great-great-grandparents had originally established their business. Going back there was like going back to a place where being Kody's first wife wasn't a defining characteristic of who she was. She was just Meri there, and she existed. She felt a sense of unrestricted belonging while strolling about Lizzie's Heritage Inn, something she hadn't felt in years. There, she could breathe differently. She was able to think more clearly. She could construct without hindrance. She was reminded by every brick of the inn of the generations of strong women who had gone before her, women who had lived fearlessly against social expectations. Meri found strength in herself, not in other people in Utah. She was free of a guy, a marriage, and an unbalanced dynamic for the first time. She was bound by her mission. No more being nice. Meri changes the narrative for the sake of maintaining family harmony. Meri remained silent for years. She took criticism, excuses, and insults to heart. In the hopes that the family might become closer, she let herself get smaller. However, she was no longer the same person in Utah. She no longer pretends that the emotional gap between her and Kody can be filled. She stops being cautious around him, and she stops dimming herself to maintain the tranquility that was never given to her in return. Viewers saw Kody drive her to the periphery, belittle her emotional needs, and ignore her for years. However, the Meri in Utah today is no more the subdued, amiable wife she once was. She doesn't require approval from a long-gone spouse. Being completely, unashamedly herself is what gives her power, not being one of many. Her remarks have become clearer, more confident, and sharper in interviews and online updates. She no longer uses delicate language or hesitates to express her feelings. Rather, she talks like a woman who is aware of her identity and desires. This is freedom, not resentment. Growing Lizzie's Heritage Inn, The start of her true legacy. Meri's initial acquisition of Lizzie's Heritage Inn was a passion project that allowed her to both establish her own future and pay tribute to her family's history. However, it is now the focal point of her new life. Not only did Utah provide her with a place to live, but it also laid the groundwork for an empire she is desperate to expand. She is growing the inn and turning it from a small family-run business into a destination with a mission. Meri is organizing community-driven events, empowerment weekends, women's retreats, and creative get-togethers with the goal of assisting people in regaining their own strength, something she is well-versed in. While every room in the inn has a story to tell, Meri's favorite is the one she's writing right now. Today, she spends her days making decisions, renovating, interacting with guests, and forming alliances. She is now generating possibilities on her own terms rather than waiting for approval. And it's a hit among fans. Her new priority is personal development. Meri's metamorphosis took time. It resulted from emotional labor, painful epiphanies, and letting go of bonds she had previously believed to be irreversible. Utah provided her with the opportunity to rebuild herself as well as her life. At last, Meri has space to grow without Kody's criticism or the pressure of competing with the other wives. She is reestablishing her instincts. She's picking up interests she gave up. She is surrounded by positive individuals. She is loving herself more clearly than ever before. Her social media accounts demonstrate this development, not via artificial optimism, but rather through self-assuredness. She offers insights into her hard labor at the inn, passionate observations, and nature treks. Every post depicts a woman making daily decisions for herself. This warmth is not coincidental for someone who spent years helping a family that hardly gave back. It is merited. Relationships changed, including the ones she left behind. Although leaving the Brown family meant changing how they function in her life, it did not mean removing them from it. The distance is clean with Kody. The emotional thread has been severed. Meri has no desire to mend or rekindle a relationship that has caused her pain on multiple occasions. That's okay with her. The connection with Robyn seems to be stuck in a rut. It's courteous and far away, but it's no longer intimate. Leaning on one another is no longer an option. Meri isn't looking for a seat at the table anymore. Things are kinder for Janelle and Christine. The stress of vying for Kody's attention has vanished. They respect each other, even though they might never be great friends. Additionally, their relationships no longer seem to be hampered by the thick emotional mist that earlier pervaded everything. Now, Meri's relationship with herself and the individuals who genuinely improve her life are the most important things. A woman who is at last out of the shadows during her tenure with the Browns, Meri's greatest challenge wasn't loneliness or jealousy. It was the gradual loss of who she was. Because such was the principle of plural marriage, she was forced to take less, be silent, and put up with suffering, which made her a supporting player in her own life story. Now, though, she has clarity in Utah that she did not have in Arizona. She's figured out how to stand in the sun without feeling guilty about taking up room. She is no longer the lonely woman in the background or the abandoned first wife. She is an entrepreneur, a self-reliant thinker, and a producer of experiences that empower people. Her strength today is steady rather than loud. It is the fortitude that results from starting over. Her new way of thinking, look only ahead, don't look back. One rule governs Meri's new life: move forward, no going back.